Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. 4 decades, college coaching, you saw every trend, come and go, 3-point line even, and then, in the last decade or so, analytics take such a strong stance in the game and really affect the way that coaches, scheme, like you said, and plan, and maybe even recruit players. What role did analytics play in the game for you?
That's a great question. You're right. I have seen, I played and coached in the pre-shot clock, pre-3-point line era. And I'm only 35 years. Isn't that amazing? Do the math. I'm only 35 years old.
Yeah, how much change in that amount of time? That's nuts.
But so, the way we played then compared to now is, there's been 7, complete revolutions or whatever. But I think that nobody had ever heard that. I mean, no one even used the word analytics until lately, right? In the last X number of years. But any coach with any common sense was kind of doing his own. I mean, maybe not in charts. There was no computers and statistics, but, well, this is analytics. That's a bad shot, and that's a good shot. I mean, now maybe it wasn't as well defined, and we didn't have pages of data to prove it, but we need to play faster, or we need to play slower, or so. There were a lot of those anyway. We just didn't label them. But I will say the sophistication that has come into play in the last X number of years, to me, makes the game even more fascinating. I was a little bit, I'm embarrassed to say, I think I was pretty good on the front end many years ago, especially when the 3-point line came in, and I happened to be someone that when I was playing, that distance was an easy shot. I thought, you get 1 out of 3 from here is like 1 out of 2 from there. Well, we need to shoot a whole bunch of these. That was my analytics early on. When a lot of people were slow, I'm like, no, we need to shoot a ton of these because any good shooter can make 40% of these any day of the week, So, so that part I was always thinking in a general way. So I feel good about that, but I am a little disappointed myself. I was a little slow on the real analytics when they came in because I was thinking, but it's still a game of feel. But you know what? When I finally gave in, especially last year, we really used it last year, but we started using it earlier. And I think it's very valuable, very valuable. The trick is, and this is why I resisted a little bit, is I didn't want to be married to it. I didn't want to be, everything we do has got to be, we got to prove it with numbers. I didn't want our players overloaded with a bunch of numbers. And so I had to kind of figure out what I wanted to eat. I didn't want to get overloaded. I didn't want all this data. What do I do with all this data? And so it took me some time to get to where I was comfortable with it. I was comfortable with what we wanted to present to the players. But I think it's really valuable. And I think people are making a mistake if they're not bought into it pretty highly right now. There's some really bright people. There's bright people that they never played, coach, watch basketball. They're just really good with numbers and they need to be paid attention to, in my opinion.
That balance that you're talking about, because you can go too far either way. It's all feel for me. I don't care about the numbers at all. Well, good luck with that. It's all numbers for me, and there's no feel in this game. I don't know. Good luck with that. So you were able to find that balance. What advice would you have? Because I think the hard thing, like you said, with all the data we have, how do you know what we should be paying attention to and what we shouldn't?
I think the answer is I don't know that anyone could say, this is it. This is the holy grail right here. I guess I would just tell anyone to dig into it and find their comfort zone and their confidence and their trust in what they're getting, and then form their own philosophy about how we're going to use these. That would be my suggestion. Yeah. I certainly don't feel like I could lecture anyone on what you should be doing, this and this and this. But I do think I'm disappointed. I think I was a little slower. I should have been quicker on that uptick, I think.
Well, you saw the value of the 3-point line real early on, so I think that's pretty sharp. Good. It seems to me like the good balance goes back to question one with your style of play. Know the style of play that helps your players be the most successful, and then choose those analytics that help them do that even further. I think that may be the right way to approach it.
I definitely agree with that. I think the first step for me was I didn't want to be overloaded. I didn't want to be just throwing a bunch of numbers all the time. And it's like, well, that's all we're doing is going in and crunching numbers every time we have a practice or a game. And then at the same time, I didn't want them to be worried about math class either. So it more became what we emphasized and those kind of things. And then, maybe a little bit of the language we used to kind of show them why we're doing some of the things and numerically and all that.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.